Mute myself. Share screen, share audio, screen share. Okay, good. Okay, so ano ba maganda? Oh, sorry, punta muna tayo sa portfolio. Okay, lost ako ngayon pero still I'm higher than my starting point of 100,000. Okay, so going back dito sa presentation natin, ayan nga, may makikita kayong mga charts dyan, mga candlesticks. So let's say, tatype ko lang dito, MM or Mary Mart. Ayan na meron na sa Santo Tomas. Ayan, para siyang pure gold. Ayan, so may mga candlesticks tayo na tinatawag and then meron tayong volume dito sa baba. Okay, ito yung gaano kadami yung amount na na-trade on that day. For example, and then meron tayong mga color codes dito, green, ibig sabihin tumaas yung stocks from this bottom point, natapos nag-end yung araw sa mas mataas na price. Okay? Let's say for example, this last, ayan, may mga data man sa baba, makikita niyo naman, ano. Ayan, for example, today po, that's April 12 today. And then tingnan natin yung status ng April 12. Ang market natin ay nag-open at a price of 5.49 pesos or 5.50 pesos. And then natapos yung araw at 5.60 or 5.60 ganyan. Or to clearly see that, pwede tayong palitan natin to, pero maya-maya. So, ang ibig sabihin po ng green is pag mas mataas po yung closing value, end of the day na value or presyo as compared dun sa opening price. Okay? And then, ito naman po, nung araw na to. So, nag-open yung market at this point, sabihin natin 5.87 pesos, and then natapos yung araw ng sabihin natin 5.21 pesos. So, let's say nag-trade ka nung araw na yun, nung March 8. Okay. Ayan, just to give you kung anong impact nung mga possible decisions dito or possible movements na gawin nyo. Okay. Oops, sorry. Okay. Okay. Naku po. Sorry. Isa pa. Okay. So, let's say milyonaryo kayo. Ano? Okay, and then you have like 1,000,000 pesos on your account. Yan, 1 million pesos, and then that day, yung 1 million pesos na yun is ginamit mo in trading this on March 8. Okay, March 8 lang. You, let's say, bought at a price of, let's say, 5.9. Binili mo, okay, bumili ka ng 5.9 pesos per share. Ibig sabihin, just to give you estimate, sorry, mali pala ako ng ginawa. 1,000 nga lang pala. So, ayan. Ayan, medyo alangan yung unit. Pero sabihin natin 165,000 na units ang binili mo at amount of price. Then sabihin natin ito yung volume at amount of 165,000 pesos. Ibig sabihin, ang nagastos mo, excluding yung mga fees, is about 1,000,000 pesos. Okay? So, yan po yung ating naging ginawa mo March 8. Okay? And then, that day, since ikaw ay, sabihin natin, ikaw ay swing trader, ayan, March 8 din, pinagbenta mo siya. At natapos yung araw. So, let's say, natapos yung araw ng 5.18. Actually, mali yung decision dito. niya. Pero pakita lang natin yung impact. Ano. So, natapos yung araw, 5.18 pesos. Ibig sabihin, yung stocks mo, sorry, yung 165,000 mong stocks ngayon ay natapos ang araw worth 855,000 na lamang. Ang ibig sabihin nun, that day, loss ka ng 120,000 pesos. Okay? Nakita yung impact ng salang decision? Bumili ka at a higher price, pero pinagbenta mo siya ng mas mababang presyo. Meaning, yun nga, nag-loss ka. Yun yung impact. However, let's see ganito. Ilang months lang ba? Dito. Sige, dito tayo. So, let's say, dito, March 15. Nag-enter ka sa market at a value, yan, nakabili ka ng stocks ni MM or ni Mary Mart ng 4.43 pesos. Tingnan natin dito ha. Okay, dito, March 15. Okay, March 15, bumili ka ng stocks ni Mary Mart at a price of 4.45. Okay? Ngayon, sabihin natin 165,000 uli yung iyong binili. O damihan natin, milyonaryo ka eh. Sabihin natin 300,000 ang volume ng binili mo at a price of 4.45 pesos. Meaning, gumastos ka or nag-invest ka ng amount of 1.4 million pesos. Kulang pa yan. Maliit na value lang yan. Okay, 6,000. Stocks yung binili mo, ibig sabihin about 3 million pesos yung ginastos mo. And then, come today, 4/12, pinagbenta mo na yung stocks mo. Pinagbenta mo siya, sabihin natin na nasa point na to, 5.57. Okay? 5.57. 60,000 din. Lahat ng binili mo dati nung 315 in just a month, ayan, ito yung volume niya. So, ibig sabihin, ang dating 2.6 million or 2.7 million ay ngayon 3.34 million na. And then dahil binenta mo nga siya, so nag-earn ka na ng 600. Ito na yung expected profit mo, about 672,000. That is why marami po dito na sa stock market na mga yun nga, mga milyonaryo, and then there are several other investors dito. And then they are just playing the market. Ano? So imagine that. Pag yun nga, pagdaas ng iyong investment and then tamang decision na pinagbenta mo siya at a high value or high price, yun nga, ma-achieve mo yung mas mataas na profit. Okay? So if you are familiar with Dennis Uy, kilala niyo ba si Dennis Uy? Chelsea, may-ari ng Chelsea, katropa ni or one of the pinakamalaking nagbigay ng fund dun kay Duterte nung siya ay tumatakbong president. Okay, remember that? So, yan, siya yung isa sa mga may-ari nitong dito. And then, ang ginawa niya, syempre, dahil nga sila yung may-ari. So, they invested at a low price at sabihin natin 2.5. So, that was August. Sabihin natin August 3. Okay, August 3, 2020. Bumili siya at a price of 2.25 pesos dito stocks. And then yung volume, ayan, ang volume natin is, sabihin natin, ayan, ganyan kalaki. Halimbawa lang po, 1.2 million. Ibig sabihin, maliit pa yun eh. Maliit pa to. Sabihin natin 64 million. Ayan, 64 million stocks yung kanyang, masyadong malaki. Or hindi masyadong maliit to. Sabihin natin ganyan, 10 million. Oops, 10, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, bumili siya ng 10 million stocks at a price of 2.25. Okay? Ibig sabihin, nag-invest siya, let's see, maliit lang 'tong amount na 'to, 22,500. And then ang ginawa niyang action dito was dito February 23, 2/23, sinell niya na yung lahat ng stocks na 'to or siyempre just to give a number ha. Ayan, pinagbenta niya na 'to at a price of sabihin natin yung peak, 19 pesos. Okay, ibig sabihin, yung 225, yung 22.5 million yung initial investment like last year. And then come February, it turned out to be 190 million. Magkano kanyang naging profit? Ganun kalaki. Okay? Nakuha. That's why na marami po dito na yun nga, pinaglalaruan lang yung stocks and then ayan, gain sila ng malaking profit. It's a source of money talaga. Okay? And then, so, sana malinaw po. Yun po yung decision natin. And then, meron dito mga sa candlesticks, yung kulay, nasabi ko na nga kanina, pag siya ay red, ibig sabihin, it opened, or opening price niya ay mas mataas kaysa sa closing price. Okay? So, kagaya ngayon, anong 12? Ang opening price niya, palitan ko lang yung duration natin dito. Gawin natin 15 minutes. Ayan, para kita natin yung araw. So, sorry, 1 minute. Okay. So, kung mapapansin nyo dito, nag-open yung ating market at a price of 11.08. Okay? Nakuha? Ayan, 11.10. Sabihin natin ganun. 11.10. Okay? Ito yung opening price kaninang alas 9, 9:30 ng umaga. And then natapos po siya. Ngayon, ito po yung kanyang ending price. Yung dulo na yun, 11.04 or 11.02 pa nga ata. Okay? So, palitan ko lang uli yung duration. Gawin kong 1 day. Yun po yung ibig sabihin ng kulay pula na yun. Pag mas mataas yung opening price kaysa sa closing price. Okay? And then green naman po pag mas mataas po yung closing price kaysa sa opening price. Like for example, nitong March 11, the market opened at about 8.41 pesos and then ended at 10.4 or 10.5 pesos. Okay? Ngayon, sir, ano naman po ang ibig sabihin nung, ayun, yung parang sa whisker, yung parang gano'n, sa ating box and whisker. Okay, yung parang whisker na yun or tinatawag namin as wick dito sa stock market. Ayan. expand ko lang ng konti. Sir, anong ibig sabihin po nun? Okay, let's say itong araw na to, February 24. Kulay pula, ibig sabihin, nag-start siya at 7.43 pesos, natapos siya at 15 or 16 pesos. Ang ibig sabihin ng pula na yun, yung presyo at that particular day ay umabot sa pinakamababang presyo na yun at 4.44 pesos. Malinaw? So opportunity yun na para dun sa iba na bumenta na makabili kasi nga mababa yung presyo or makapagbenta. Ayan. And then ito namang green, ganun din yung ibig sabihin. Halimbawa ito, that day pumalo yung stocks natin at value of 18.39 pesos. Yun ang pinakamataas na point or price at that day. Okay? And for this day po, umabot yung presyo niya at 11.3 pesos. So para dun sa iba, opportunity yun para makapagbenta. Kasi nga, imagine, kung day trader ka, let's say, kung day trader ka, kagaya nitong case na to, nabili mo halimbawa yung stocks at 11 pesos. Okay? 11 pesos. And then, ayun, and then pinagbenta mo siya 11.30. So, kung may investment ka na, let's say, nasa natin, 3.3 million. So, nag-earn ka na ng 90,000. Okay, profit na yun. And then that's only for a day. What more yung mga institutions natin, yung mga foreign investors na masyadong malaki talaga yung nagiging movement or binibili nilang price or yung kanilang volume malaki talaga. So, as a result, malaki din yung kanilang profit given na sila ay mga nag-day trades. Okay? So, yun po ang ibig sabihin ng box ng ating candlesticks. Ngayon, ito namang kulay pula na to. Ang ibig sabihin po ng color coding dito sa volume natin sa baba, yan po yung mas marami po yung nagbenta. Ito yung volume ng mga nagbenta or nag-sell ng stocks nila. So, kung napapansin nyo, dito, nag-action sina Dennis Uy, February 23. Ayan, nagbenta, kulay pula. So, maraming nagbenta. So, with a total volume of 100, sorry, hindi nakita. 100, ayun, ito po ha, pagmasdan niyo po yung nandito na value. Okay, dito po 106 million yung volume na nagbenta. Okay, and then come next day, dahil nga po sa biglang bumaba yung presyo, so as an action of other people, nagbenta na rin po sila kasi alam nila na bababa pa lalo 'to. Okay, so ibig sabihin nag-take na sila ng profit and they are not expecting na tataas pa. Okay? So, ayan po. So, dito po sa mga charts marami tayong options dito. Puwede niyong gawin 'tong line chart kung mas komportable po kayo. 'Yan, puwedeng line chart kasi mas sanay tayo sa ganyan. Pero yung iba, preferred talaga nila yung candlestick. Okay, hindi siya bumalik. Okay, preferred nila yung candlesticks, ano. Ayan. And then ano pa ba? Yun nga, with regards sa time scale, pwede siyang maging intraday, daily, weekly, monthly, or depende sa inyo kung ano yung gusto nyong view. Pwedeng daily, pwede namang in long term. Ako kalimitan is 6 months yung ginagawa ko or kung ano yung naka-default dito. Ayan, candlesticks. Okay. And then, ayan, may mga indicators nga tayo dito. Pwedeng, yun nga, yung napaliwanag natin dati, yung moving averages. Ngayon, ayan, yung volume, nasabi naman natin din kanina. Ano pa ba? So, ayan, determining the trend. So, like for example, this one, yun nga, upper trend meaning higher highs. Ayan po yung mga points na yun. Ayan, higher highs, higher lows. Mas mataas po sa dating low. Mas mataas sa dating low. Mas mataas sa dating low. Itong point na to, mas mataas sa dating high. Mas mataas sa dating high. Okay? But yun nga, mahirap ko minsan na makita natin yung trends. So let's move on dito sa isang presentation. I'll be sharing this to you as well. Ngayon, yung iba, with regards sa paggamit naman po ng moving averages, ayan, masasabi natin yung trend if it is an uptrend or short-term uptrend if yung price natin is currently above the 20 ME. So kung titingnan natin dito, then lagyan ko lang ng indicator natin. Moving average, yung simple lang. So moving average, papalitan ko lang siya. Gagawin ko siyang 20 days. Ayan po. So yan yung 20 days moving average. So alam niyo naman kung paano computation ng moving average, ano? So ayan po. Anong ibig sabihin natin dito? Price is above 20 MA. So short-term uptrend. So kung mapapansin niyo to, yung point na to, mas may gap na sila. Ibig sabihin, possibly, pa-uptrend na to. Pataas na uli yung stocks na to. Ni dito. Tingnan natin yung iba. SM. Ayan. So, ito, hindi pa. Wala pang masyado movement. Ano pa ba yung mga resorts? Ayan. Sa resource world, ayan. Kung mapapansin nyo, mas mataas na yung current price kaysa sa moving average na 20. 20-day moving average. Ibig sabihin, it's an indicator din na pataas na yung uptrend, short-term uptrend. Ngayon, if the price is above 100 MA, it's called medium-term uptrend. And if it is above 200 MA, then definitely it's an uptrend. So, tingnan natin. Mag-add ulit tayo ng moving average. And then, palitan ko ulit ito. Gawin ko siyang 200. 200-day average. So, ayan, ang pangit ng chart niya. Ayan. But, for now, based on what is given here, it's an indicator na pa-uptrend na rin po to. Kasi, ayun, mas mataas na yung price kesa sa average siya for the past 200 days. Pero definitely, this is because of the lockdown. Kaya sa ngayon, hindi nyo pa masyado ma-appreciate itong 200-day average kasi sakop pa niya yung periods of lockdowns. Maybe, let's try, GMA7. Wala masyado itong movement pero ayun, maganda. GMA7, ayun. O nga pala, dito. Sayang. So, ayan. Mas mataas. Uptrend. Definitely is an uptrend. Kasi ito yung 200 moving average. Mas mataas na yung kayang current price kesa dito. So, opportunity to actually dati na mag-enter sa market nung nandito sa point na to. Okay. So, yun po. Ano pa ba nakalagay dito? Masyadong madami ito, guys. So, share ko na lang din. Okay. Yung iba po, paano daw po tayo mag-e-enter sa market? So, yung iba, they are just waiting for the crossover. Ito po, crossover between 200 and 20 and 50 MA. So, ito, tingnan natin. 20 and 50, yun nga lang, exponential moving average. Pero, okay, asan ba yung masyadong malaki? Ayun. Ito, nasabi naman natin kanina, uptrend. Ayan. So, ito, kaya nyo naman siguro itong basahin. So, yung iba, iniintay nila yung crossover point na yun. Like, for this case, 20, yun nga, exponential moving average nga lang yung ginamit dito. Pero iniintay nila yung point na yun para mag-enter sila sa market. Okay? Let's say, ito. Ayan, yung crossover na yun. Okay. Ayan. Ito kasi, yung may mga cases kasi dito na hindi siya applicable sa Philippine market. Kasi hindi tayo nag-earn hindi tayo pwedeng parang mag-place ng money natin for any stocks na pababa or ina-anticipate nating pababa. Unlike sa US market na pwede kang mag-place ng order if you're thinking na okay, the market here is pababa and then pag bumaba siya mag-earn ka ng profit. Ayan, dito sa atin hindi yun pwede. Okay? So, let's see, halimbawa, ABS, CBN. Ayan. Dito po, ayan, sa US market, ganito ang nangyari. Pag nag-place ka dito ng stock, bumili ka dito, and then you're thinking na pababa, pwede kang mag-earn habang bumababa yung stocks. Ganun sa US market, may option ka. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, wala kang option na ganun eh. Even sa mga crypto, ganun din po. May option din na ganun. Okay? So, ito, basahin nyo na lang. Masyadong mahirap mag-cite ng examples dito kasi nagva-vary. Pero, ayun, maganda rin naman itong materials na to. Okay, so I'll just share it na lang. Or maybe I can provide you the link. na lang nung video for you to understand more on how moving average is being used. Okay? Okay. So, ayan. Tingnan natin kung may balik ako sa portfolio ko dito. Tingnan natin kung may possible action na kung pwedeng gawin. So, close na yung market natin, alauna. So, ito na yung final. Sa ngayon, meron akong 396 pesos na available. Ayoko muna siyang ibenta. Ayoko mag-cut loss dito. Kasi possibly tumaas pa ito eh. Yung ibang value nito. Okay, so ayun, wala muna akong gagawin ditong any action. For now. Maybe in the following weeks. Okay, so hopefully nga po, chine-check nyo po yung inyong portfolio. Kahit weekly. Para in case na may mga profit na kayo dito, pwede nyo nang i-close yung inyong position dito. Okay? Okay po. So with that said, ayan, punta muna tayo sa presentation nyo for today. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And then, punta tayo sa presentation. Documents. Asan ka? Sige, hindi ko makita. OM. Asan yung OM? Ayan, dahil hindi ko makita yung record ko. Matagal na tayong hindi hindi natin nagamit. Pero yun nga po. Sige, start tayo sa first group. Okay, kayo na po yung bahala kung ano po yung dalawang laboratory activities na gusto nyo i-present. And then kung sino yung presenter. Hindi ko makita yung aking record ngayon eh. Okay po. Okay, so for the first group natin, documents. Okay po. Pwede nyo na pong kunin yung bola and you may start presenting na po. Ayan, thank you po.
Sir,
Yes.
yung dalawa pong presentation na ipe-present po agad or isa lang po muna saka po yung isa mamaya?
Para less yung interruption siguro pag sa magkasunod na lang.
Sige po, thank you po sir.
Okay, thank you po. So, ko siya na ilagay.
Sir, saglit lang po.
Apa. Nahanap ko rin yung record niyo, yung folder. Nawala sa akin yung folder eh. Ayun, nakuha ko na. Nasa document lang pala.
Camille?
Yes.
Okay na?
Wala
Wala
pa.
pa?
Oo.
Ate. Wala pa ba? Try ko ulitin. Ba't kay Eric meron na daw? Ayan, meron na?
Ayan, okay na.
Okay. Wait lang.
Ma-record pa kay full screen nga.
Wala, naka-open ang mic ko. Wait lang.
By the way, sana po umattend kayo ng presentation last time or ng webinar last time. Tama po ba?
Yes po sir.
And then I think present yata itong QFD and sabi ko nga sa inyo, this is more of related sa when you're designing a new product. or more affiliated siya sa product design and development? Ano? Okay, so hopefully nakita nyo na ginagamit talaga siya. Okay? Ayan, sige po, start na tayo, ma'am.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, we are the Group 1 and we chose the Laboratory 9 na ipapresent namin ngayon, which is the QFD of a new laptop. So, yung na-assign sa amin is yung laptop. Next slide, please. Okay, so as you can see in your screen, nandito po yung mga identify customer one. So this is the first step in creating a QFD. So yung rating po namin, sir, extremely important, very important, important, less important, and not important, which yung 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 po. So yan po yung naging basis nung aming pong rating. So the first step that we did po is to conduct a survey po kung ano po talaga yung customer requirements po in terms sa laptop po. So nag-came up po kami dun sa speed, lightweight, large storage, capacity, best screen resolution, operating system, and connectivity po. So to prove na talaga pong nag-survey po kami, so nakikita po natin dito sa screen yung pong mga sinend po nung group page po namin na nag-PM po kami para po mag-conduct po ng survey. So after we conducted the survey po, we came up po dun sa customer requirements po, which is in-average lang po namin yung mga after the ranking po ng mga customer requirements. So, makikita po natin dito or naka-flash po sa screen na yung 5, which is yung po yung pinakamataas. So, it pertains to the speed. And then 3, yung operating system and so on and so forth. So, yan po yung naging first step in creating QFT.
Okay.
So,
So yun
next.
just want to clear things up. Ayan, as much as possible, kailangan daw po yung customer requirements ay specific or mas malinaw. Let's say for speed, anong klaseng speed ba yung hinahanap mo? Maybe more description for the speed. Ayan, operating system, ano specifically yung hinahanap mo for the operating system, for the connectivity. Maybe yun nga, yung mas described like connectivity, do you want it to easily connect with a new device or so? Ayan, para yun nga, when you're let's say for your case, when you're doing surveying, mas clear din po sa mga respondents natin anong ibig sabihin nyo dito sa mga requirements na ito. Okay? Ayan, just a piece of advice. Yep. Okay, continue, ma'am.
Okay po, sir. So, for the next slide po, please. Hindi, pakibalik, Marco. Yan, dyan.
So here po, in what the customer wants, just like what Miss Cueto said, yung mga ito pong speed, lightweight, large storage capacity, best screen resolution, operating system, and connectivity. Ito po yung mga features na para po sa aming group ay ito po yung mga as customer po, ito po yung mga kailangan namin or mas ito po yung mga feature na for us po is binibigyan po ng importance para mas magamit po namin ng ayos yung laptop na aming i-create po. And doon po sa 524432, ito nga po yung result sa mga survey na nagawa po namin, which is in average lang po namin yung kinandak naming survey galing po sa mga response po ng aming mga group mates.
Okay.
Next slide po, please. Okay, so dito naman po sa next slide po, makikita po natin yung how to satisfy customer wants. So pagdating po sa how to satisfy customer wants, it should be measurable po. So kaya po makikita nyo dyan yung high frequency, yung RAM, processor, high number, and yan, nababasa naman po nila isa-isa. So it pertains po sa mga number. It means talaga po siyang measurable, na-measure because in terms of number po, like napaka self-explanatory naman
Yes,
po.
and they called it normally as the engineering requirements din, ano? As tayo, tinawag natin siya book-based. It's technical requirements. Pero sabi dun sa webinars, engineering. They call it as engineering requirements.
Opo, sir, engineering requirements. So, next slide, please.
So here po, in this step po, which is relationship matrix, here in relationship matrix po, makikita po natin yung relationship ng customer,
Requirements. And
na relationship po ng customer wants ng what customer wants and how to satisfy customer wants po. So here in relationship matrix po, so we decided to use na rin po yung legend na na-discuss po natin in our previous discussion po, na yung may circle po and circle na nasa gitnang maliit is which is strong, na corresponding po sa 9 po, and moderate which is the circle, the black circle na equal to 3, and weak is the red dot na equal po sa 1. So here po, dito po sa relationship matrix, parang naging, ito na din po yung nag-come up namin na group. Ito po yung na-come up po namin sa groupings po namin, na kung ano po yung relationship nung, for example po itong speed and high frequency, nag-come up po kami sa strong relationship, and so on and so forth po. So makikita naman po natin dito sa aming presentation kung ano po yung mga relationship ng bawat customer wants to how to satisfy customer wants po.
okay. So ito yung pinagdebatehan nyo, ano? Hopefully.
Yes po,
po,
yes po.
sir, yan po.
Sige.
So as customer po, parang kung ano po yung mas as a customer po, individual customer, kung ano po yung sa tingin po namin is anong relationship po niya, kung para po sa akin ba as gumagamit po ng mga laptop, para sa akin po ba strong yung relationship, kasi we are students naman po, so we are nakakaranas naman po at talaga naman po kaming gumagamit ng laptop. So as ano po, masasagot po namin talaga kung anong relationship ng bawat feature at dun sa kung ano po yung magsasatisfy sa amin as customer po.
Okay, malinaw po.
Next slide, please. Okay, so dito naman po is in terms of correlation. So yung naging legend po namin is when it is positive correlation, it would be a positive sign, negative correlation and negative sign, and no correlation, ibig sabihin wala ka pong ilalagay. So nabanggit naman po kanina na we are really using laptop po. So we know in ourselves po kung alin po talaga yung relationship, kung may relationship po ba yung isa't isa dun sa the other feature po. For example po, this high frequency and alam na sorry po sir for the
No worries, no worries.
interruption po.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yung high frequency po and then yung random access memory po. So we decided or nagdebate po kami na meron ba talaga tong correlation? So marami naman, majority wins, lagi naman pong ganon.
For
So
now,
marami
yes.
pong yes po, lagi naman pong ganun. Kung sino mas maraming boboto na talagang may correlation, and then yun po yung nilagay namin since kami naman po yung magdi-decide po talaga. And then when it comes to high frequency and then processor, yung CPU, so meron din po siyang positive correlation. So makikita naman po natin dyan, hindi ko na lang po iisa-isahin kasi before po, meron na naman po kaming background since na-discuss nyo po kung paano po kami relation in between the features po.
Okay.
So, next slide, please.
So Dito po sa weighted rating, so gaya po ng sabi ko kanina is nag-come up po kami dun sa equivalent na 931. So dito po, so since Excel file po yung ginamit namin dyan, so nagkaroon na po kami ng formula and kung ano po yung in-input namin na value na 931, so magka-come up na po kami dito sa total and some product po ng bawat features and relationship po nila sa isa't isa. So dito po, nakita naman po natin na dun sa our importance rating, parang ang naging importance po at bibigyan ng pansin na namin as gagawa po ng panibagong laptop is yung 132, which is the cost and price.
Mm. Okay.
Pabalik po ng slide. And dun at and dun po sa features, ang nag-come up po dun sa weighted rating is yung po sa aming group. Yun po yung pinaka mahalaga sa aming feature since uh, today po kasi we are in the online class po. So mas importante po sa aming feature na yung mabilis po para sa mga online class is hindi po nagkakaroon ng technical problems, ganun po. Yun yung po nag-come up sa amin, which is yung 240. And dun po sa features, dun po naman sa how to satisfy customer is yung 132, which is yung price and or cost po ng isang laptop.
Mm.
Next slide, please. Okay, now dito po sa next slide po namin, ngayon po after po na makuha po namin yung importance rating as well as the weighted score po, magkakaroon mo po tayo ng comparison po between the two companies po. So let's assume na merong company na company A and company B dito. So of course, hindi since kami po yung gagawa ng laptop, hindi pwedeng lahat na lang sa company A ay good, wala nang babaguhin kasi kung magiging good yan, so ba't pa kami magke-create ng laptop kung lahat naman po pala ng features ay nasa kanya na. So, yes, so yun po yung naging namin, company A, pagdating po sa speed, yung fair po siya, and then sa company B, good, and so on and so forth po dito. So, let's assume na lang po namin na hindi na lang po namin pinangalanan yung kung ano po talagang specific yung laptop kasi for the sake na rin po ng pero it's based po sa kung majority kung ano pong name or brand nung ginagamit namin kasi most of us po is have the same brand of laptop po. Like two different laptops po. So next slide please po.
So sir, this is the overall look po ng aming quality function deployment in creating new laptop. So based on our step-by-step process, starting from the survey up to having a competitive assessment of the two companies. So yan po yung naging result po ng aming house of quality. That's all po, sir, and thank you po. Good afternoon.
Yep, very good. So, yan, actually, di ba may kasunod nga tong steps? And those steps po ay medyo technical na nga po. Then that requires you a lot of exposure with regards sa what's the right or what's the target value to measure, let's say, yung mga technical requirements nyo, high frequency, which is, yun nga, tayo, we're lacking sa ganong exposure or ganong experience. So yeah, very good so far. Nice.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you po.
So, thank you rin po. So, the other, yung groupmate po namin is for the other one po.
Okay po.
Good afternoon, sir.
Apo. Good afternoon po.
For our laboratory activity number 11, we are tasked to select a simple product and construct engineering drawing, bill of materials, assembly drawing, and assembly diagram. So we are advised to use the following softwares as flash on your screen in constructing engineering and assembly drawing. So first, we come up choosing mouse or computer mouse. It is a handheld device that transmits your computer demand to the computer by controlling the movement of the cursor or pointer in the computer screen. So I think we are aware naman about its function. I think no need to expound naman po.
Yes.
So let's proceed to Pwede pataas, Besh. Um, yan. So let's proceed to our presentation proper. So we first created an engineering drawing using an AutoCAD. So flashing on your screen is our engineering drawing. Um, so I think no need to explain this. We have note na lang po doon for high quality image, please download this engineering
Mm.
drawings or files. We cited the two different files so that you can visit it with higher quality. We have PDF files and AutoCAD files. So
Mm.
next, let's move on to our bill of materials. So basically, a bill of materials or BOM is a comprehensive inventory of the raw materials, assemblies, sub-assemblies, parts, and components, as well as the quantities of each needed to manufacture a product. So in order po to come up with this bill of materials, we first do some research about the internal and external materials used in order to manufacture a single output. So as we finish researching, we divided the materials into three subcomponents. So flashing on your screen nga po, we have plastics,
Mm.
metals, and electronics, which is the three main composition of generating or creating a single computer mouse. So for our plastic, top shell, top frame, bottom frame, scroll wheels, battery cover is made up of ABC or acrylonitrile butadiene estyrene. So light pipe po is yung materials po na ginamit is yung polycarbonate. So for
Mm.
our metals, we have magnets, magnet film, sheet flags, springs, self-taping screws. And nakikita nyo naman po kung ano
Yep.
po yung materials na ginamit. Tapos yung electronics din po, we have optical sensor, triple A battery, tactile switch, LED, resistors, capacitors, rotary encoder, IZ, and RF SOC. So, on the left, yung katabi po niyan is yung materials na ginamit. So, in order po to come up with a total cost, pwede pong pataas, Besh, Mari Carl, pwede pataas ng konti. Yan. In order po to come up with a final costing, we multiply the quantity times materials po, then inad po namin sa toolings. So parang ang ano po, yung parang ano po namin para po makapag-come up kami sa final costing po, yung materials po namin is based po doon sa mga nakita namin po na research po namin. Tapos parang ano po, ang ginawa po namin is parang in-estimate lang po namin yung I'm sorry, in-estimate lang po namin yung costing ng each materials. Tapos po, we parang in-assume na ang pagbebenta po pagbili po namin ng materials is in bulk.
Bulk yun. Yes po.
Apo. Tapos, we have notes po under the bill of materials. So, yan, note. Our estimated bill of materials of a computer mouse is 336 pesos, assuming that materials above are purchased in bulk and the cost of materials are just predicted. The materials used are based on common materials in manufacturing a computer mouse, and it's based on the research that we collected and read. So since we have that specific knowledge about the materials and its costing, we just use prediction or we just estimated its costing lang po.
Okay. Yeah, that's a challenge for you
So,
guys sa feasibility study.
yes po.
Ano?
Tapos yung total po ng cost is 336. We assume that ang isang pong mouse is 336. I think this mouse is like yung parang normal lang po na mouse na hindi yung super original at hindi naman yung super local. Charot.
Okay.
So, proceed naman po tayo doon sa assembly drawing.
Yeah, this is really
So,
difficult,
yan.
guys. Napakahirap niyang gawin.
Actually, took 4 hours to finish this because masyado pong detailed yung ano po.
Oh,
So yan po.
pinahirapan ko kayo. Sorry po.
Yung para pong exploded type ng ano po
Ah,
siya, assembly yung ginawa po namin.
Green yun.
So next po is yung aming ano po, assembly diagram. Yan. I'm sorry po, medyo bado yung drawing. So yan po. Yung pagkakaiba lang po ng assembly drawing sa assembly diagram namin is nagkaroon lang po kami ng labeling sa mga each parts, ganun-ganun.
Mhm. Okay.
Yun lang po.
So, I think the missing part here is yung sa, if you go back dun sa, that's the last page, ano, by the way. Yeah, last page to. Okay, can you go back dun sa second page? I think yung problem, not really a problem, pero I think it's necessary na magkaroon kayo ng like naming ng mga parts na yan. Very important yun pag nasa industry ka. Okay, yung part numbers or material number. Like for example, top shell, you can just call it as TSO1 or and then top frame, pwedeng TSO2, parang mga ganun. Then TSO3 yung bottom frame. Okay? So, maganda yun kasi para dun sa third page natin, malibelan na natin ano yung kada parts rather than describing it na ito yung top shell, ito yung top frame. You can just mark it based dun sa part number niya. Okay? Pwede siyang malagyan na ng arrow. This part is TSO1, TSO2, TSO3, and the likes. Okay?
Okay,
Para
sir.
magmukha talaga siyang engineering drawing. Then, okay. And then for the fourth page, I think that's not a assembly diagram. Ano?
Yes po.
I think para siya kasing flowchart yung assembly diagram na identified kung ano yung mga parts na pagsasama-samahin. And it's not really a drawing na kagaya nung nasa page 4 nyo. Yan, nakalagay
Hello?
dun. Yan, nakalagay dun, I think, nakita ko yung last time Assembly diagram. Hold on. If I just Google it, yung itsura ng assembly, okay, it's different. Ayan, okay. Is it? Okay, hold on. Ayan, pag Google nga, ito yung nalabas sa assembly diagram. Pero, assembly chart, ba ang tawag dun? Sorry, it's just assembly chart. Yung pala yung missing. Tama po ba? Sorry, hindi ko sure kung ano nakalagay sa instruction ko kung assembly diagram ba siya, but it should be an assembly chart. Pero okay lang yan. No worries. It's not too critical. Okay? Hindi ko sure kung ano nakalagay sa instruction ko if it is assembly chart or assembly diagram. But if it's assembly diagram, then you're right. Yung page 4, ganyan yung itsura. Pero I think assembly diagram, assembly drawing is almost the same. Okay. But supposedly, it should be an assembly chart. I think that's something missing dito.
Assembly diagram po yung nasa instruction
Ayan,
po,
so it's
sir.
my fault. What I was referring then was yung assembly chart. Hindi
Okay
assembly
po.
diagram. Ayan, my fault, my bad yan. Okay lang. Pero yun nga.
Thank you po.
Ayan. So, ayan, good. So yun na, a piece of advice. So, ito I think wala ako next semester or sa mga susunod na semester. But sa feasibility study nyo, napakahalaga na clear yung ganitong mga assembly drawing, assembly chart, yung bill of materials nyo. And then dun sa bill of materials, identified pa if those are binili mo or the company decided it to be bought rather than to be made. Kasi posible mas makakatipid sila pag bibilhin na lang or iso-source na lang nila rather than kayo mismo yung gagawa ng piyesa na yun. Okay? So, yun. Additional na lang din sa bill of materials. Yan, napakarami namang samples of bill of materials na pwede nyong paggamitan. And hopefully, ayan, hindi ko alam kung magagamit nyo ba yung AutoCAD na to sa mga future projects nyo, but hopefully you learn something from it. Sana magamit nyo to sa maybe PDD or FS. Okay, sana na-refresh ng konti kung paano gamitin yung AutoCAD. Okay po?
Okay po. Thank you po, sir.
Okay, maraming salamat po. So, salamat po sa first group. Okay, let's move to the second group. Effort pala talaga ang paggawa nito. Daming icons eh. Okay.
Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon po.
So, ang na-assign po sa amin ay yung designing a cellphone. Tas nag-survey po kami kasi halos lahat naman po kami nagamit ng cellphone.
So, kayo rin po ang customers,
Opo, kami po
customers. Okay.
Ano po. So, ito po ang aming customer wants. More internal storage, improved charging capabilities, more powerful processor or operating system, increased durability, more camera and videos capabilities, SD card storage, more diversity in product ranges ito po yung price. Holographic screen projections, ito po yung magiging HD po ng mga pictures or screen displays.
Okay. Sure kayo
Tapos,
na internal storage yung ano? Hindi, siguro hindi na lang talaga ako. Pero, yeah. Internal storage. Kasi, parang cloud, di ba? Cloud-based na mga phone niya yun. So, pero, again, hindi yun. Depende kung sino mga customers nyo. So,
then,
okay. So, by the way, your target market here, as you are to create a new phone model, sino po ang target market natin dito? Marami ang clusters. Pwedeng estudyante, pwedeng mga
since ano po yung online class, marami po yung nag-aano po ng cellphone. Yung mga estudyante.
students. Okay.
A bigger focus on artificial intelligence. Ito po yung gano'ng kabilis po mag-response yung cellphone.
Phone.
Halimbawa po, nag-open po ng isang application, mag-open po siya, agad hindi po lag. Then more health or fitness tracking features.
Okay.
Paglalagay po ng relationship, nagtulong din po kami sa paglalagay. Tas, ito po ang aming ledger. Yung pong bilog ay weak. Ang triangle po, yung po inverted triangle po ay moderate. Yung star po ay strong.
Okay.
And doon naman po sa functional requirements or house po ay ito po, long-lasting battery, warp speed processing. Ito po yung speed po ng isang cellphone, hindi po siya lag. Crystal clear display, great camera, near field communications. Ito po ay yung pagpapasa po ng data sa ibang cellphone.
Hold
Multiple
on.
window.
A great camera. I think next time, you have to specify it. So how can you measure a great camera? So next time. Madami, syempre, magagamit nyo naman to. Okay, continue po.
Then plenty of storage space, fingerprint sensor, wireless charging, screen size, availability kung 4G po or 5G. Then, hot air cooler. Then, sa
Okay.
relationship, kami na din po nagtulong-tulong din po kami sa paglalagay ng relationship. Then, ito po yung ledger. Ang dalawa pong positive ay strong positive, then yung isa po ay positive, then negative, then no correlation po.
Okay, how is it that screen size is strongly related to availability? Anyone from the team? How do you say that there's a strong correlation between screen size? Does it mean that the wider the screen size, the better the availability of the phone para makasagap ng 5G signal? Yun po ba yun?
Opo.
Oh, sure po.
Wait lang.
Kasi yun yung ibig sabihin ng double plus di ba? Strong positive. Again, I cannot check it all So, I trust on your work, guys.
Sir, mali po kami nalagay.
Saan dapat yun?
Dapat po wala.
Okay, dapat. Oops. Ang hirap nga ng pinagawa ko sa inyo.
Mano-mano po namin yun,
Oo.
sir.
Oo nga
Kakalito po.
So, wala yun. So, ano pa dyan yung double plus? Double check lang natin I trust
Apo.
dun sa gawa nyo. So, near field and then plenty of storage space. That's negative. Ibig sabihin, bakit negative yung correlation niya sa multiple windows? Ano ba? Anong ibig sabihin niya ba din ng multiple windows? Capable for
Yung pong Windows po na, yung pwede pong
double screen? Yun ba yun?
double screen po.
Oh, yun nahahati yung may app
Apo.
na sa taas, may app sa baba. Okay.
Apo.
Then, bakit negative? Plenty of storage space. Bakit?
Gapo ng ang storage po yung laman po ng isang cellphone.
So, pagdami nung phone pagdami nung Windows, pagbaba nung storage space availability.
Hindi po.
Ano ibig sabihin nun?
Sa amin po ay wala pong relationship.
Kundi dapat blanco pag walang relationship. Hindi negative. Kasi, ayun di ba? It's a negative relation. Kung tama yung tingin ko, multiple windows and plenty of storage. Pagtaas ng isa, pagbaba nung kakayahan nating mas supportahan yung another requirement na yun. Diba? If that's a negative relation.
Sorry sir, sadya po nakakalito ang paglalagay eh.
Opo. So, ano yun? No relation at all?
No relation po.
Okay, remove natin. So, ano pa guys? Yung naobserbahan natin dito na sa tingin natin ay misleading. Ayun, auto air cooler and availability. Anong ibig sabihin ng plus doon?
Diga po pag po nagde-data po, nainit po yung likod po ng cellphone. Since air cooler po, po siya. Para po nagkaroon po hindi na po siya masyado mag-iinit.
Okay. Auto air cooler. Yun nga. Kaya nga as much as possible, kailangan natin yung technical requirements na to ay na-measure. Kasi hindi siya dapat na descriptive eh, di ga? Kasi pag descriptive and you're trying to compare it with another requirements na quantifiable, hindi mo ma-establish yung relationship. Di ba? Mahirap mag-establish ng relationship.
Opo.
So again, it should be a lesson learned para sa inyo guys na as much as possible, measurable yung technical requirements natin para madaling or para ma-establish natin nga yung relationship between them. Okay po?
Opo.
Okay, so I won't be checking all of the relationship na yan. Sana naintindihan na lang natin. Okay? Okay, so next ma'am.
Next po yung sa
Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon po.
Yep.
Para po makuha naman po itong weighted score po ay
Mm.
ang ginawa po namin ay equal. Ito po, i-click nyo po yung D11 times dito po sa customer importance rating po. And so on po, ganun lang po ulit, plus po, open parenthesis, hanggang sa dulo po para po makuha ang po, yung parang pinaka-total po. Tapos po, ang pinaka-total po ng lahat po ng weighted score na nakuha po ay 1,596. Tapos po, sirs, na base po sa rating po dito, po naman yung mga nakuha po na in our importance rating. Ang first po sa rating ay ito po, yung long-lasting
Hindi.
battery.
We have plenty of storage space.
Ay, ito po pala, ito po. Sorry po sir, sabi ko na po. Ito print of storage. Tapos po ay second po ay yung long-lasting battery po. Tapos po, ang third po ay warp speed processing po. Yun po sir.
So, ibig
Tapos
sabihin, yun
po,
yung, anong ibig sabihin ng mga highest na yun?
yun po yung parang pinaka need po talaga ng mga customer. Dahil po yun po yung mga kailangan po na hinahanap po ng mga customer para po mabili yung item po.
Or yun yung or yung long-lasting batteries, plenty of storage space, a phone with warp speed processing. So yun yung kailangan bigyang focus ng engineering team or ng product development team.
Opo.
Okay, to ensure na nami-meet nila yung pangangailangan ng customers.
Opo.
Okay.
Tapos po, din po kami sa yung mga iba't iba pong company, katulad po na Asus, iPhone, Oppo, Realme, Samsung, at saka po sa amin pong company. Kapag katulad na lang po sa more internal storage, pinakamataas po, base po sa nagawa din po namin na sa
that your product will
company.
be able to support the high storage, tama ba?
More internal storage.
More internal storage.
Pinakauna, 5 ranking, 5 pinakamataas po ay amin pong company, third po ay iPhone, tapos po Realme, tapos po ay Oppo, tapos po next po ay Samsung, at pinaka-last po ay Asus po. Yun po.
Yeah,
Actually,
yung comparison natin yan against our competitors, mas maganda din sana if specific what particular model ang mini-mention natin dito, Like for example, sa phone, ang daming klaseng phone and for example, for the Samsung, anong i-compare natin? Ano yung mga scores na yan based sa anong klaseng model ng phone? 'Di ba? So is it yung latest nila? Is it yung old model na halimbawa A10, A20, mga ganyan? So again, kung gagawa uli kayo ng ganito, as much as possible ay specific ang mga yan. Hindi natin gine-generalize na ito yung kakayahan ni Asus, ni iPhone, and so.
yun lang po, sir.
Okay, maraming salamat po. So, a
Thank you
lot of
po, sir.
things to improve pa dito, ano? Pero
Thank you,
for
sir.
the meantime, I think that's good enough for the meantime. So, sana pag nasa work na kayo, pag nasa industry ay malaking improvement na yung magagawa nyo. So, right now, we're just after to exposing you sa mga tools na ganito. Okay?
Apo. Apo.
Okay po. Thank you so much po.
Thank you din po, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Hmm.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon po.
Then, ito naman po yung pangalawang lab na i-report po namin, which is yung Laboratory 12.
Hmm.
And yung ang napatapat po sa amin is IKEA. So, ang sabi po is, we have to do some research about corporate social responsibilities and the sustainable design efforts of the following company. So, IKEA po kasi is a Swedish wait lang po sa sa slide 3. So
Okay.
yan, IKEA po
Okay.
kasi has an acronym that stands for Ingvar Kamprad Elimtarid Agunarid. So yung sa pag-pronounce pa lang po ng IKEA, we have two different pronunciations. So if you're in a Swedish country or if you're in Sweden, they pronounce it as IKEA. But if you're in the American country, they pronounce it as IKEA. So
Mhm.
yun, IKEA po designs and sells ready-to-assemble furnitures, which is yun po yung parang kumbaga trademark po ni IKEA. Then IKEA has the world's largest furniture retailer since 2008. Next.
Mhm.
So Ingvar Kamprad, he is a Swedish businessman. He is the founder of IKEA. Kumbaga, yung IKEA po kasi, so parang medyo may kwento po kasi yung kung bakit IKEA yung pangalan ng company. Yung I and K po is Ingvar Kamprad, which is yung
Mhm.
pangalan po nung founder. Then yung T comes from the farm kung saan po siya
Next start.
lumaki.
Okay. Okay.
Lumaki po.
Lumaki. Okay.
Opo, yung Elimtarid. And then yung A po is from the Swedish village, yung Agunarid.
Okay.
Opo, yes po. Then IKEA po was founded on July 28, 1943 at Almholt, Sweden, where yung first company po was built. Yung first IKEA store was built.
Mhm.
Then next. So yan naman po. So for the so for the interpretation po ng chart, as of end of August 2020, there were a total of 445 IKEA stores worldwide. In 2013, IKEA operated 345 stores around the world. In the financial year of 2020, the global revenue generated by IKEA amounted to 39.6 billion euros. So, kumbaga, parang kung makikita po natin sa chart, para kay IKEA po kasi is maganda yung indication nito where yung they are on the right path po where their company is still reaching its goals. The next.
Mhm.
This statistic shows the size of furniture market worldwide from 2020 to 2027. The global market value of furniture was estimated to be worth 509.8 billion US dollars in 2020 and was forecast to reach about 650.7 billion US dollars by 2027.
Mhm.
Next po. Then yan naman po is the list of countries ng merong IKEA stores. So hindi ko na po yun iisa-isahan kasi
Ah,
sobrang dami nga po.
yes.
Kasi po halos IKEA has 69 countries na merong IKEA stores. So yan, kumbaga yan po yung mga list ng countries na merong IKEA stores.
Okay.
Yan. Doon po sa list ng mga stores na yon, kumbaga parang may mga eye-catchy po na mga countries katulad po nung Sweden, kasi yan nga po Sweden, kumbaga parang siya po yung diyan po
Nag-start.
nag-umpisa yung diyan po nag-start yung IKEA store where sa ngayon po meron pong 20 IKEA stores and yung pinakamalaki po is nandun po sa Kungens Kurva, Sweden. Sunod po, Germany. Kumbaga, parang they considered Germany as IKEA's largest market kasi nga po, Germany has a total of 53 stores. Then, kasunod naman po nila is yung United States na merong 52 IKEA stores. Then, sa Philippines naman po, meron tayong isa IKEA store located at SMOA, Mall of Asia, Pasay.
Hindi pa siya tapos.
Then,
Hindi pa siya
yes
operational.
po.
Ano?
Yes po. Then, bali sa IKEA po is plans to expand to 5 to 6 stores in Baguio, Cagayan de Oro, Cebu, Davao, Iloilo, and Iloilo in 8 years' time. So, what exactly does IKEA do? So, yan nga po. First is yung home furnishing, then appliances, ready-to-assemble furniture, then home accessories and kitchen products. So, yung example po ng kumbaga pa, IKEA operates in 69 countries po. Then, syempre, yung kanilang kumbaga trademark, which is yung ready-to-assemble furnitures and also home accessories and kitchen products. Kung mapapansin natin, IKEA focuses po on house designs and a lot even more. That is why they are the world's largest furniture retailer po. Then, example po ng home furnishing is yung mga curtains, mga beddings po, and mattresses, rugs, chair coverings, and sofas. So, yan, makikita po natin sa mga next slides yung mga example po ng product ni IKEA. Yan po, Billy Book po, Riga Clothes Rack, then Kallax Unit Shelf, Riba Frame, Satsuma's Plant Stand, Striped Stockholm Rug. Then yun nga po. Kumbaga parang yung mga designs po na ni IKEA sa mga home furniture katulad po dun sa sa first product.
Yep.
Sige po. Yung parang yung Billy Bookcase. Yung Billy Bookcase po kasi is pwede mo pa kumbaga parang customizable po siya. Pwede mo po siyang alisin yung mga parang divisions po ng bookshelf kung ayaw mo po na may mga divisions. Karamihan po talaga ng mga product na IKEA is ganun po, parang customizable po.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
So, yan naman po. Doon naman po sa CSR or yung Corporate Social Responsibility. So, Corporate Social Responsibility po or yung CSR has something to do po sa mga businesses even if it is small or large to enact positive change. Kasi po, when companies choose to do what is right, not only for their bottom line, but also benefit financially while building trust with consumers. And also po, more socially responsible po sa IKEA, mas nagiging supportive po yung community and also the customer. So yun nga po, pagdating naman po CSR ng IKEA, pumapasok po dyan una is yung reducing carbon footprint.
Yep.
Which is yun po. Kasi po, IKEA is expected to parang become energy positive po by 2020.
Correct.
And with that po, they managed to install 700,000 solar panels and also IKEA owns and parang nag-operate po sila ng 327 wind turbines around the world. Yung makikita po natin sa next slide. Yung yan po. And
Okay.
IKEA invested 730,000 solar panels on its own buildings worldwide. Then dahil po sa mga yan, nababawasan po yung burning ng mga fossil fuels, which is the main component of energy into electricity.
Okay.
At napapababa niya po yung amount ng carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This parang IKEA din po kasi is eco-friendly and parang environment conscious.
Yep.
Then example po, halimbawa, yung nga po, energy consuming products offered by IKEA are on average 50% more efficient compared to 2008. Kumbaga parang since 2008, nagkaroon po ng 50% na efficient and energy efficiency
Hmm.
hanggang ngayon po, yung
Okay.
up to this day po. Yan po, yung mga picture na nakikita natin, this happened naman po sa Australia. Yung two branches of IKEA, which is yung IKEA Perth and IKEA Adelaide. Kasi po, yan po yung may mga pinakamaraming wind turbines and solar panels na ino-operate among the other branches of IKEA.
Mm.
Then next. So for charitable giving and corporate policies that benefit the environment. IKEA, kapag dito po, yung Save the Children Charity and IKEA stores in Sweden, nag-donate po sila ng 37,000 welcome backpacks filled with toys and other products for children. Yung pagdo-donate naman po nito, parang nangyari po ito dun sa mga South American countries. Nangyari po yan. Then yung pinamigay po nilang welcome backpacks is galing po kay IKEA na product din po nila. In UK, IKEA has planted 1 million trees in communities across the country. Employees contributed to the improvement of environment in which children live and develop. So yan po, for improving labor and policies, IKEA has introduced a new hourly wage structure that concentrates on the needs of its employees. The furniture retailer has launched My Learning online system that provides employees at all levels access to face-to-face and digital learning solutions. Yung My Learning po, parang katulad lang din po siya, kumbaga parang sa atin po sa UBLMS, pero yung sa kanila po is My Learning para naman po sa mga workers. Then the company organized a global talent focus week in April 2016 to provide employees worldwide with an opportunity to have a dialogue around the many ways to grow and develop within IKEA. So yan po, plus
Ayun.
po para sa
Okay.
CSR ng IKEA. It is socially and environmentally conscious investments. About 60% of all products offered by the furniture retailer are based on renewable materials and 10% of products contain recycled materials. So ano nga po ba yung environment investments or yung eco-investing? Parang ito po yung investments made by the companies that support or provides environmentally friendly products and practices. Kumbaga po, IKEA kasi po is not just an ordinary company na nagpo-produce ng product katulad ng ibang company na kasabayan nila. Yung idea po kasi ng ibang company is to just take, make, and waste. Kumuha sila ng raw material from the environment po. Then pinaprocess nila. Then pagka-process po, nabuo na nila yung product, yun na yun. Kumbaga yung company, iniisip lang nila yung kikitain or yung magiging income po nila. Well, doon po sa IKEA, is kabaliktaran naman po. Yung walang sasayang sa kanila, din yung mga old products nagagawa nila into a new resources. They uses a lot of renewable wood-based materials and they are increasing the amount of recycled materials such as recycled plastic in the products. So yung recycled plastic, malalaman po natin mamaya kung ano nga po ba yung ginagamit nilang recycled plastics. Then, nag-aim din po kasi sa IKEA to avoid unnecessary material consumption. Example po niyan is yung nasa left side po ng screen. Ang tawag po na sa product niyan is the lock table. And yung
Okay.
left sa right naman po is yung storage system made by IKEA, which is yung flat sack. IKEA po also made mattresses which is made up of fabric from wood pulp. Kasi po sa IKEA yung wood po is important raw material for them.
Mm.
Then sobrang dami pa po na nagagawa ng IKEA from recyclable materials po.
Yep.
Meron nga po silang product na made by 100% recycled plastic, which is yung Scarpo chair po. Wala lang po kung hindi ko lang po nailagay sa
Yep.
PPT yung example. Pero meron po talaga silang nagawa na 100% recycled po.
Made from
Then
recycled
IKEA po,
items.
apo. Then IKEA po kasi hindi lang po sila nakafocus sa mga home designs, house furnitures po. They also sell varieties of seafoods, which is yung ang kadalasan po na seafoods nila is yung hindi po katulad nung sa iba na basta lang po sila nag-aano ng mga seafoods. Kumbaga parang they have their own
Sustainable way,
apo.
sustainable source
Yes
of
po.
seafoods.
Apo.
Napanood niyo
Yes
ba
po.
yun? Sa Netflix? Seaspiracy? Ano yun? Seaspiracy? Tama ba? Parang ganun.
Apo, parang ganun. Pero po silang sarili. Then next.
Yeah, Seaspiracy.
So for sustainable design efforts naman po, for the company, nga po, they use solar panels, they use renewable and recyclable materials, children's lamp trollbo. Yun po, yan, yung may picture po niya sa next slide. Yun po elements made from recycled PET o yung mga plastic bottles na nakikita lang po, yung mga normal plastic bottles po. Then next po is yung self-watering plants. Kasi it keeps soil to moist to help plants thrive even if you can't water them regularly. Ito po, yun, mga bagay po sa mga mahilig maghalaman. Yan po is parang may water reservoir po sa ilalim. Then kahit hindi mo naman po diligan araw-araw, is basa po yung lupa niya.
Okay.
Then next. IKEA and sustainable design. Dito naman sir, kumbaga these are parang practices or characteristics ng IKEA. Yung responsible, synergistic, contextual, restorative, eco-efficient, creative, and visionary. Kumbaga this and how they come up on sustainable design effort. Pinapakita lang nila dito na every company can make a product without too much using the environment and not risking the life of their customers po. Kumbaga, hindi po tumitigil sa IKEA sa pagkakaroon ng innovation sa kanilang mga product. That is why they're considered as one of the best multinational furniture retailer. Kasi kung nagawa din nga po ni IKEA yung ganitong practices, gagawa din po ng ibang company.
Yep.
Next. Sustainable design at IKEA. So, form, function, quality, sustainability, and low price. Sa form po, lahat naman po siguro sa atin, syempre kapag po nagkabahay, gugustuhin yung maayos at maganda ang mga home decor. So para po kay IKEA, yung product design nila should be beautiful and appealing for everyone, especially to the customer. Kasi customer po, iba-iba po ang customer and may kanya-kanya pong gusto. Then, function and quality. Siyempre, hindi lang po dapat maganda yung product na ipoproduce na isang company. Kailangan, para madali lang din po magamit and merong best quality. Katulad nung kay IKEA, they are producing ready to assemble products. Kapag po mahirap ito gamitin or madaling masira, ang tendency po nun is yung customer will not buy that product or if it is kumbaga parang unusable po in their daily life. So for sustainability, IKEA uses lampan, which is light product that does not require packaging and saves space in storage and transportation. So yung lampan po parang kumbaga parang ano po storage system po. Ganun. Para makabawas po ng mga kaysa gamitin po nila isang bawa po mga plastic bags. Nagawa po sila ng sarili nilang storage system which is yung lampan po. Then next. So yan na nga po yung sustainable raw materials na ginagamit ng IKEA. Yung bamboo, wood, plastic composite, flax and linen. Yung flax and linen po parang yung flax po is parang kind of po yata siya yung parang halaman na nagpo-produce po nung linen. Then yung better cotton, recycled PET plastic, and water hyacinth. Then, yan lang po sa.
Yeah, good. Ayun, kompleto naman sir. So, first, pa-check na lang ng link na binigay ko sa inyo regarding yung mga additional information for the recycling programs. Let's return and recycling programs. Halimbawa, may old kang gamit, old kang furniture, pwede siyang isauli kay IKEA or isauli, not isauli. Pero yung halimbawa, may bibili ka ng bago na furniture, ayan, and then to replace your old ones. So pag dineliver sa inyo ni IKEA yung new furniture nyo, pwedeng isauli, i-return nyo yung old furniture na meron kayo. So rather than you to dispose it or itago or itapon kung saan man, hayaan yung ibigay siya or i-return siya kay IKEA and then let IKEA maybe recycle it or to make use of it para makagawa ng another products. Ayan. So, pa-check na lang po nun. And then for the second link po, yung Cis Piracy. Again, you can watch it in YouTube to know more about sustainable source of fishing. Which I think is quite surprising dito kay IKEA na meron pala silang ganung mga products. Kung tama yung pakinig ko, sir. Ano?
Apo, yes po, sir.
Okay. So, yeah. Complete naman to. Maraming salamat po, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
At sa grupo. Group 2. Okay, next group tayo.
Hello po, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon po.
Kita na po yung screen.
Yes, lahat po ng screen. Yes.
Okay po. So, ang napili po namin i-present ngayon ay yung activity 9 din po na kung saan po ang napatapat sa amin ay kami po yung mag-iisip ng aming product na gagawin para sa QFT. Ang naisip po namin na product ay new ergonomic chair na kung saan po ang focus namin na customer ay mga students ngayon na nag-online class at saka mga
office workers
nagtatrabaho sa kanilang bahay po.
Okay.
Okay po. So, yung customer requirements po ay ito po i-binize namin sa grupo po namin. Tinanong po namin kung paano ba ang ano ang mga i-consider nila pag sila ay bibili ng isang ergonomic chair o ng upuan para makapag-aral. Ito po, easy to use, comfortable, reliable, lightweight, aesthetics, size and measurement, cost, material use, and durability. Ang rating po namin dito, ginawa po namin 1 to 9 para po mas na-base po namin kung alin po yung pinakamataas na factor na maaaring makonsider ng mga customers. Ang ginamit po dito namin ay survey din po sa kagrupo. Dito po sa rating na to.
Okay, so
okay,
rinank nyo lang sila, ano? Tama ba?
Opo, sir.
Okay.
Kumbaga, nagboto-botohan na lang po kami kung ano yung
wala namang problema din. Yes.
Okay.
Yun nga lang, sir.
Next po.
Yun nga lang.
Okay po.
Hanggat maaari, yung customer requirements is very clear. Like for example, aesthetics. Aesthetics in what way? Size? Anong klaseng size yun? Malinaw ba? Yung ganun po, kahit na patanong ako. So sana po is mas clear yung customer requirements.
Okay po, sir. Ang pinonsider po namin sa aesthetics, yung po ba, parang design niya, kung paano po siya titingnan, na applicable po sa babae o lalaki.
Okay. How about reliable? Anong klaseng reliability iyon ng upuan?
Kung consistent po siya, yung upuan, sir, na dapat po ay durable siya, madali po gamitin. Yung consistent po yung quality niya.
So pag nasa industry na kayo, pwede kasing naka-isang statement yung customer requirements na yan. Ginawa lang kasi natin dito is parang nilista lang natin kung ano yung mga high level, kumbaga. Pero as much as possible, mas maganda kung mas detalyado. Next time.
Okay po, sir.
Okay po. Thank you.
Then next naman po dito po sa taas, yung kinonsider naman po namin yung paano po namin ma-achieve yung customer satisfaction kapag kami na po yung mismong ilalagay po namin yung position namin na kami po yung manufacturer ng mismong silya. Ito po yung na-consider namin na factors na maaaring maka-apekto dun sa binigay na customer requirements.
Actually, dapat separate siya. Yung itong technical requirements are not necessarily in line with the customer requirements. Parang magkaibang survey yung ginawa mo, parang ganun, na hindi dapat mag-base itong technical requirements initially dito sa customer requirements. Hindi siya create itong technical requirements to support itong customer requirements. Nilista natin yung kakayahan natin. Regardless of customer requirements. Okay? Okay po.
Next po, sir, para po dun sa legend namin dito po sa taas. Yung po mga positive correlation, meron po siyang plus sign. Ang no correlation po ay tuldok lang po, tapos ang negative po ay minus sign.
Okay, so stability, material used, ergonomic. How do you measure ergonomic design? Okay, so madali na rin naman yan. Okay. Ruler. Okay, good. Okay.
Okay po. Next po yung sa relationship naman po ng technical requirements at saka ng customer requirements. Ito po yung naging base ng legends namin na itinulad lang po namin doon sa PPT nyo, sir. Na kung saan yung number 1 ay weak na meron siyang pulang dot. Ang 3 naman po ay bilog lang, tapos moderate po ang ibig sabihin niya. Ang 9 naman po yung bilog na may dot. Strong naman po yung relationship niya sa isa't isa. So base po dito, ari din po ay pinagboto-botohan din namin sa group.
Okay.
Tapos po sir, yung weighted score, dito po sa gilid, may consider po natin itong comfortable kasi po siya yung may pinakamataas. I-base po natin itong weighted score sa gilid sa customer requirements na ating napili. Halimbawa po sir, ay may consider din natin itong factor na comfortable sa gagawin nating new product kasi po siya yung nakakuha ng pinakamataas na weighted score. Ganun din po dito sa pababa, sa technical importance score, na kung saan, based dun sa rating ng customer at saka yung pinagbotohan natin na customer requirements saka relationship ng customer requirements at saka ng technical requirements, nakakuha po yung material use na pinakamataas na magiging focus natin para para ma-improve natin yung ating product. Ang conclusion po namin na we must focus on the aspects of materials use rather than the mobility, ergonomic design, stability, and the size of the chair. It shows that the market will have the higher chance of sales of chairs if the company focuses on the materials used in making the chair.
Okay, that addresses all the possibly most of the customer requirements. Okay, thank you.
Yes po, sir.
So hindi na natin ginawa yung comparison which is okay lang naman.
Opo, sir.
Okay. So yeah, good.
Thank you po, sir.
Yun nga sooner or later gagawin nyo rin naman ulit sa industry. So sana may foundation na tayo. Kahit foundation nga lang. Minor pa lang. Okay. So next po.
Wait lang po, sir.
Apo, no worries, no worries.
Visible na po.
Yep.
Okay, so good afternoon everyone. Yung magiging second presentation po namin is all about the social responsibilities and successful sustainability design efforts ng Starbucks. So first, I'll start it off with a brief history of Starbucks. So Starbucks is the world's largest and most popular coffee company. Since the beginning, this premier cafe aimed to deliver the world's finest fresh roasted coffee. Today, the company dominates the industry and has created a brand that is tantamount with loyalty, integrity, and proven longevity. So for its history, Starbucks Coffee Company was founded in 1971. The first retail store opened in Seattle's Pike Place Market in the United States. In 1981, Howard Schultz came to Starbucks and said that he would like to be a part of Starbucks. Then Starbucks agreed and hired Howard. During 1983, Howard went to Italy and he became enchanted with Italian coffee bars and the romance of the coffee experience. In the late 1985, Howard left Starbucks and then he started his own company named Giornale Coffee Company. In March 1987, the owners decided to sell Starbucks in Seattle. When Howard learned of this, he immediately decided to buy Starbucks, and finally, his acquisition was completed in August of 1987. He then became Starbucks president and CEO. After his acquisition of Starbucks, Howard has integrated between, ito po yung name ng kanyang coffee. It's Il Journal, yung short term lang po, and Starbucks together.
Okay.
So now let us start with the definition of what is social responsibility. According to Carroll, corporate social responsibility involves the conduct of a business so that it is economically profitable, law-abiding, ethical, and socially supportive. To be socially responsible then means that profitability and obedience to the law are foremost conditions when discussing the firm's ethics and the extent to which it supports the society in which it exists with contribution of money, time, and talent.
Starbucks corporate social responsibility. The first way Starbucks has shown the corporate social responsibility is through the commitment to the environment. Starbucks' main goal was to provide more fair trade coffee. Ang Starbucks po, first main goal niya po ay mag-provide ng more fair trade coffee. Yung meaning po nun ay Starbucks will aim to only buy 100% responsibly grown and traded coffee. Responsibly grown coffee po ay means preserving energy and water at the farms. Going green po. Makita po natin ang logo ng Starbucks kulay green po. The first attempt to produce a green store was in Manhattan. Starbucks made the decision to renovate a 15-year-old store. It replacing old equipment with more energy efficient ones. Promise to make each new store LED. LED means leader in energy and environmental design. 12-store total plan to be renovated, and Starbucks has promised to make each new store LED. LED improves performance regarding energy savings, water efficiency, and emission reduction. So means po nito, ang Starbucks po ay eco-friendly po talaga. The second way Starbucks has shown the corporate social responsibility is through the commitment to customers. Realize that people with disabilities are very important. Yung every customer po kasi ng Starbucks, mahalaga po para sa employees ng Starbucks.
Yep.
The best way to get the customers what they want is to understand their demographic groups. Yung pong about sa mga disabilities po, ginawan po ng Starbucks na maging efficient po sa kanila. Ginawan po ng Starbucks ng mga gamit, yung pong kunyari po, yung pong mas mababa pong lamesa po or yung sa counter po mas mababa para po din sa mga naka-wheelchair. Katulad po ng iba po nilang stores, meron po silang sarili pong comfort room po para po sa mga person with disabilities. Starbucks joined the National Business Disability Council. Yung pong pag-join po sila sa National Business Disability Council, mas nag-gain po ang Starbucks ng access to resumes of people with disabilities. Next. Cutting costs and retaining loyal customers. Provide a loyalty card for frequent and loyal customers. Yung loyalty card po nila provide, available naman po to halos lahat po na store, then iba't iba po yung nila, yung design pa. Dito po sa loyalty card, may mga benefits po silang binibigay. Yung po nako-collect po kayo ng stars, then may free po kayong drink or something pa. Then minsan po naman tuwing December po to January, nagpo-provide po sila ng ng isang papel po na iipunan niyo po ng stickers. Then 18 stickers kapalit po ng isang planner po. Cheaper prices are a necessity. Sa Starbucks po, kung meron po kayong Starbucks app sa sa cellphone, then naka-connect po yung loyalty card niyo po doon. Nag-update po si Starbucks. Minsan po nagbibigay po siya ng less cheap prices po sa drinks nila. Minsan po may mga free drinks po if you buy something or pag minsan po pag bibili po kayo ng drinks, may free po silang tinapay or commitment to employees.
Benefits.
The first and biggest way Starbucks shows their commitment to employees. Yung pong mga employees po ni Starbucks, meron pong benefits and stock options. Talaga pong pinapahalagaan po ni Starbucks yung bawat isa pong employees niya. The Starbucks policy states that as long as you work 20 hours a week, you get benefits and stock option. These benefits include health insurance and contributions to employees for 401k plan. Don't exclude part-time workers. Starbucks doesn't exclude part-time workers because they feel they are just as valuable as full-time workers. Since Starbucks doesn't have typical business hours like an office job, the part-time workers self-working the achieve. So, yung meaning lang po nito, talaga pong pinapahalagahan ni Starbucks ang bawat employee niya po, mapa part-time or full-time workers po.
She's cool. Sana all. Pati Dito ba sa Pilipinas ganun din? Siguro?
Hindi ko lang po sure, sir. Hindi lang po sure. Okay, so next po is Starbucks' successful sustainability and design efforts. So first, we'll start with their 2019 social impact reports. So with regards to their coffee and tea, 99% are ethically sourced coffee. Dun po sa 99% na ethically sourced coffee, parang yung coffee po nila, it was verified as ethically sourced under CAFE practices. Yung cafe practices po, it's also known as coffee and farmer equity. And then next is 160,000 plus farmers trained. So parang nagpo-provide po sila ng open source training and other resources to coffee farmers. Next is they invested $46 million in farmer loans and $20 million in emergency relief funds. Next, 99% are ethically sourced tea rin po. Parang they are sourcing their tea from farms na certified po through Rainforest Alliance or Fair Trade. Tulad nga po ng nabanggit po kanina about its fair trade. And then next is 66,000 women are impacted since 2018. Parang dito po, may foundation po kasi ang Starbucks na nagsusupport ng mga women and families when it comes to coffee and tea growing communities across Asia, Africa, and even Latin America. Dito po sa mga foundation na ito, tinuturo po sa kanila is leadership skills and income generating activities. Next is their greener cups and packaging. So 12 major cities are recycling Starbucks cups. Noong 2020 po, nagkaroon sila ng market testing for a cup na dapat po it's industrially compostable and recyclable in markets. So yung mga cities po currently na nag-a-allow po nitong mga recyclable cups is Amsterdam, Boston, Denver, London, San Francisco, and Vancouver, tapos etc. po.
Okay.
Next is 10% post-consumer fiber. Dito po sa 10% post-consumer fiber, yung hot cups mo nila, it currently contains 10% post-consumer fiber. So they're working on it to double the recycled content to 20% and to reduce environmental impacts. Next po is 2.8 reusability rate in measured markets. Dito daw po, ang ibig sabihin nito, the customers receive a discount for bringing their own cup, or yung ginagamit po nilang cup is yung mga ceramic cups po nila within the store. Ganun po.
Yun pala yun. Okay.
Next is their greener retail. So 741 stores globally that reflect the greener stores framework. May partnership po kasi ang Starbucks with World Wildlife Fund, and may collaboration sila with other non-governmental organizations, and they're planning to go beyond LEED, yung expanding their scope to a greener store. Next is 72% of their global operations are powered by renewable energy. And next, 14,800 Greener Apron Partners. Ito pong Greener Apron Partners, parang nagpo-provide sila ng sustainability program through Starbucks Global Academy. Yan po.
Okay.
Next is, dito po naka-state yung 2030 preliminary targets naman po nila. So for 2030, ang balak po nila is 50% reduction in carbon emissions, 50% reduction in water use in direct operations, and 50% reduction in waste sent to landfills. Tapos yung areas of focus nila is more plant-based menu options, reusable packaging, regenerative agriculture, manage their waste, and more eco-friendly stores.
Nice.
So first, Starbucks wants to halve its carbon emissions, waste output, and water impact. Parang ang balak po nila dito is to reduce their carbon emissions by 50%, to reduce yung waste po nila that will be sent to landfills, And then, parang gusto po nilang mag-shift into a more circular economy wherein they can also conserve and replenish 50% of the water being used for direct operations in coffee production.
Okay.
Next po is there is a new way to track progress. Para po sa kanila, nag-release sila ng comprehensive environmental footprint of carbon emissions, water use, and waste in Starbucks global operations and supply chain. Parang yung mga partnership nila with Qantas and World Wildlife Fund, it serves as a baseline for them to measure their future progress. Next po is from more plant-based food and beverages to reusables. Ang goal po talaga kasi nila is they want to make more bigger impacts, so they're expanding their plant-based and environmentally friendly menu options. Tapos instead na single use, they're trying to make their packaging reusable, and then they're also investing in innovative agricultural and water conservation. Tapos they are also looking for ways to better manage their waste in their stores and in communities. Next is yesterday's groundwork is equal to a head start. Dito po, yung meron po silang Starbucks food share program. Dito po sa food share program nila, nagkakaroon po sila ng mga packages that are eligible unsold foods every morning. Parang nagde-deliver po sila ng mga meals sa mga non-profit organizations around the United States. Tapos parang every morning po, pila po yung mga tao for sandwiches, salads, fruits, yogurt cups, and pastries. Ganun po. Next is leader in LEED. So parang ang gusto po talaga nila is to have more greener stores which are according to LEED standards. Next, nagkaroon po sila ng partnership with Conservation International. Ito pong Conservation International, isa po, like, ang main goal po nila is to protect po yung nature natin. Yan po. And then, ito pong cafe, tulad po ng na-mention ko kanina, it's coffee and farmer equity. So, yung pagsusource po nila ng kanilang coffee, more on like ethical practices po. And then, lastly is yung Greener Apron. Ito pong Greener Apron ay nagpo-provide po sila ng course on sustainability and environmental stewardship. Yun lang po.
Yep, very good. Ano bang ma-comment natin dito? So, actually, it's really good na alam natin yung mga ganitong bagay. Na hindi lang tayo pumupunta sa Starbucks para bumili ng kape or so. Pero alam din natin na meron pala silang mga ganito mga programs, mga sustainability efforts. Ano? Ay, yeah, good. Mga hindi natin alam na
Thank you po.
mga bagay. Yes, very good po. So, tapos na tayo sa group 3, ano? Group 4 tayo. Meron bang group? Meron group 4. Last group. Meron ba na group 4 dito? Kasi naglipatan yung ibang members ng group 4. Group 4 po, meron ba? Mukhang wala. Meron po ba? Wala. Wala po. Okay. So yan, pa-check na lang po nung spreadsheet for the grades ng ating mga members of the team, of each team. Okay, so for now, oras na ba? Alas 3. Tinatamad na naman ako. Okay. Very honest sa inyo, guys. Okay. So, nagdi-discuss ba ako? Tinatamad ako. Okay. Sige, wag na. Okay. Wag na muna ako mag-discuss. Sorry. Okay. So, una po sa lahat, ayan. Sige, kumustahan muna tayo. This is informal, Meron let's just spend like 5 minutes to 10 minutes kumustahan. So guys, kumusta po kayo ngayon? normal pa ba kayo? Yung maayos pa po ba? Natututo ng konti? Not only for my subject but for the other subjects?
Okay naman po, pero
Bigla pong
nahihirapan pa
maging
rin.
abnormal.
Oo nga eh. Kasi we actually were hoping na next semester parang i-allow na yung kahit konti na estudyante mapunta sa school. Kaso parang dahil nga sa ang daming lockdowns na uli, ang daming cases na uli eh. Tapos parang kokonti pa lang yung vaccinated. Eh, parang malabo yung chance. So actually for yung klase niyo po sa ibang subject tuloy-tuloy naman din, tama? Weekly din po kayo nagkaklase ano?
Yes po.
Okay, good. And then si Sir Jack, tama ba? Ay ano yung pang-affiliado nun? Sir Jack, yung bagong instructor po is may klase po sa inyo? Or lahat ba ng subjects nyo ay may prof na tama? Kasi parang dati, temporary lang eh. Tama po, hindi kayo naapektuhan nun?
Opo, sir.
Okay, good. Okay. So, dahil tinatamad ako magturo. So, plan natin for next week. Ako muna ang in charge next week, lahat. Gusto ko munang tapusin. Yung kakayo. And then, sana mag-install na po kayo nung program natin na nalimutan ko na naman. Ayan, may bibigay po ako sa inyong program. I think that is nasaan na yun? Ayan, hindi ko ma-check dito sa phone ko. Hold on na, double check ko lang sa email. Kasi, ayan, so next week ako muna yung in charge sa lahat. Magtuturo na ako na maayos next week. Actually, nito mga nakaraang araw I was very busy talaga kasi may mga projects tayong ginagawa. Ayan, very occupied ako last week. Ito mga nakaraang weeks. Okay, so yun, any logic po yung ating magiging program na gagamitin. So, you may review na po yung any logic. You may start installing na po. I think yung basic lang naman for educational purpose. That's a freeware naman yun. Pwede na kayo mag-experiment. Check nyo yung ilang YouTube videos doon. So, ang primary focus natin doon is for capacity planning. To determine asan yung mga bottlenecks and eventually to do some simulations. Ayan. And then, ano pa ba? Ayan, ako muna next week. So, any logic, capacity planning, process strategy, aggregate planning. Medyo mabilis lang. Aatakihin ko lang doon yung mga kailangan ha. Ulit, hindi ko na idadaan lahat or hindi ko na ipepresent lahat ng nasa slides or nasa presentations natin. Kumbaga, mabilis lang. Pero ensured na, yun nga, kung anong kailangan. Okay? Then, ano pa bang kailangan natin gawin? Teka lang. Ayun. So, okay, for the next semester, I'm planning na tumigil muna sa pagtuturo and then for the following semesters, pahinga muna ako kasi nahihirapan na po talaga tayo sa online class. Hindi ako talaga comfortable sa ganitong situation. So, ayan. And then with Sir Jack na nasa, ayan, full-time na natin. So, mas ma-unload na ako and then mas comfortable na akong umalis nga sa UB. Okay? So, ayan. So, what I'm expecting, ayan, sa inyo is especially for your feasibility studies, yun nga, yung konting matututunan nyo dito sa klase natin is sana ma-apply nyo dun. Okay? Sa feasibility study kasi napakahalaga noon as your final requirements sa graduation. aside from yun nga, another thesis and some other thesis pa. Okay? So, ano pa ba? Ayan. Pero na-meet yun na si Sir Jack, ano? Or hindi pa?
Hindi pa po.
Okay. So ngayon si Ma'am Joanne, si Ma'am Ana pa lang ang na-meet nyo. Ano? Tapos,
Sir, pwede pong magtanong.
yeah, yes po. Yeah, you're free. Free to ask
May
po.
possibility kaya po na magkaroon kami ng face-to-face sa OJT po?
Possibility, yes, meron. May mga natanggap naman na companies ng OJT. Kaso mahirap. Mahirap eh. Unless talaga, kailan ba ang OJT nyo? Next semester?
No. Yes, next year pa po. Doon po ba, based po dun sa
Ah.
binigay ni Ma'am Ana.
Kung ganun, kasi mataas yung chance na this year, most companies po ay magkakaroon na ng vaccine, kagaya namin. Pero kami, permanent na yata kaming work from home. So, ang hirap yun. OJT kasi kailangan talaga nandun ka sa company. Hindi talaga pwede na kaagad work from home kayo. Yung setup. Hirap sagutin, pero more likely wala. Just being honest. Pero, ayun, siguro may mga companies pa rin natatanggap ng OJT. Tatanggap naman sila Toyota. Sa amin, hindi talaga kami natanggap ng OJT. Ngayon, I think sa Lima, parang wala halos eh. Even Epson, hindi rin natanggap ngayon eh. Kasi nga student and then bata. Ayan. Bawal, di ba? Pero ayun, depende yun sa ATF na or sa CHED. Sorry, sa CHED ang magde-decide nun eh. Kung allowed na or hindi pa. Kasi kailangan.
Thank you po, sir.
Okay. So any more questions po? Pampahaba ng oras natin.
Sir.
Yes.
About po dun sa lab po number 13 at 14 po ata yun. Hindi pa po ata. Hindi pa po ata daw po naka sa UBian.
Teka lang, isusulat ko lang at malilimutan ko na naman. Yung tipong alam ko pero hindi ko ginagawa. I know. Procrastination. Sige. So, yung latest lab. Tapos mag-upload na rin ako mag-aayos na rin ako ng ibang files. And then yung quizzes na hindi ko pa na-extend din. Sige. Okay po. Noted po yun. Pero again, if it's my fault, hindi ko naman kayo i-hurry not to submit dun sa ganung date. Okay. I always give allowances. Ay, any more questions po? Again, guys, tayo tropa-tropa lang dito. I'm very uncomfortable kasi pag sinesir ako. Ewan ko, even if pag namimit ko kayo kung saan man. Okay, so, ayun, just be open. Any questions po? Mamit ka lang sa any more questions po? Wala? Wala naman. Okay, so kung wala po, again, sorry, tinamad na naman ako magturo, pero mamadaliin ko yung next week. Okay. So, ayan, hanggang dito na lang muna tayo for today. Maraming salamat, guys. And yeah, let's have a break muna. Thanks, everyone.